Chris Wyndham, Human Nature Magazine, here with Kerry Gordy, one of the most prominent figures in the new documentary, Bitchin, the Rick James documentary. How's it going, Kerry?
It's amazing. It's amazing.
So, Kerry, you shared some very never heard before stories of Rick, and I mean, I've learned so much about Rick that I didn't know. What do you think people will come away with after seeing the documentary?
Well, you know, after I saw the documentary, I thought that it was very interesting. I don't know if Rick was portrayed in exactly the positive way that he was. They took a lot of the negative stuff, and by the way, all the negative, it was true, but there was so much positive stuff about what Rick did, and I think that they
like what would you say?
Like, for instance, when there were young girls around, he protected them. He wasn't the kind of person that really took advantage of these young girls, right? And the fact of the matter is, if a young girl came around and he would say, "Hey, no, you stay over here," and blah blah blah. It was like there was a difference between those women who came for a specific thing and those women who came naive. He didn't take advantage of those naive women.
Wow, right? Wow. And one of the things I've learned in watching the documentaries is how much of a trailblazer Rick was for people like Prince and Michael Jackson and his wars. He was, you know, the Kurt Flood of MTV, breaking those barriers. And how was that? I mean, you was his manager, so how was that whole process like?
Well, the fact of the matter is that he was very instrumental in making sure that the world got a chance to see Michael Jackson and Prince by going up against MTV, right? Had he not done that, MTV might have stayed a rock and roll with no black presence, right? But he took the bullet for everybody, and yes, he got banned, and they didn't play him, but they did start playing other minorities such as Michael Jackson, Prince, Jennifer Lopez, whoever else it was, right? He was very responsible for that. And by the way, Michael Jackson thought he was responsible for that too. He physically told me that in person.
Wow,
right?
Excellent. And where do you think Rick's legacy is today? And what do you hope, you know, with the documentary and maybe any release of the music or anything like that? I mean, where do you? I thought it should be a movie. I'm like, this would make a great movie.
Well, first of all, it would make a great movie. It would make a lot of things. But I think his legacy is definitely in his music and being honest to what he really believed in. Right. He like he said, you know, he said whatever he believed. And, you know, if he didn't believe that the president was doing the correct thing, he would call the president out. Right. And that was early on, and people didn't do that at that time, right? When he said, like I said, when he said, they all can go to hell, right? Or when he talked about Mary Jane. He hit a psychographic and a demographic that people weren't even thinking about at that time. The kids knew what was going on, but all of the other people, you know, the older generation, they didn't even know what he was saying. You know, they thought that Mary Jane was a girl.
Right, yeah. And that was another key. Well, Kerry, thank you so much. Bitchin, The Sound of Furry, the Rick James documentary is available through Showtime. I appreciate you for sharing so much, brother. Human Nature.